Hi, thanks very much for clicking on the video link. My name is Natalie, and this is an idle chat. It's one of many in a series of video interviews with members and non-members of the American Bar Association Section for Dispute Resolution. And I'm in the lucky, luxurious position of getting to talk to people in our industry around the world. Today, I get to talk to a colleague in Saskatchewan, Canada. This is Donal. Donal, this is everybody. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. It is particularly my pleasure since I've already talked to your mom and your sister because you are a multi-generational neutral services firm. Yeah?
That's right. Yes, it's a family business. Early in the days, our motto was let our family help your family.
Oh man, I love that. All right, let's get you an idle chat, my friend. All right, Donald, the first question, if your closest friends were each asked separately to describe you in one word, do you think that they would say the same word or would they give four different words to describe you?
That's a good question, and it would really depend on, yeah, which friends being asked, because you might get uh, some silly answers from some of them, but. Uh, and I guess it would be how you ask the question, be what specific words would come up. But yes, it would be an interesting experiment to see what words come up for different friends. But I don't know which ones specifically.
Oh, you'll have to put together a game next time you're all together and have people write down a word for each of your friends and colleagues, drop it in a hat and pull it out and see.
And and then you could guess who said each word.
Ooh, there you go. I like that kind. All right. Uh, Donna, what is a smell that takes you somewhere specific? This, the second you smell it, you're just off in a different place.
Hmm. Well, I would say there's a particular smell. It comes from a like this health store, but it was one that my grandma had worked at. So her whole house had this particular smell. And then when I walk past this store, it's on Broadway in Saskatoon here. Uh, and I haven't smelled this anywhere else. So it's tied specifically to these two locations, the store itself and my grandma's house.
That's a really lovely connection to make. Oh, that's very sweet. Very sweet. Uh, Donald, are you a fan of books?
I am, yes.
All
Yes,
right.
I
Do you ever
love
give
to
them a
read.
gift?
As gifts, yes. Though I often think when I'm giving someone a book for a gift that what's the likelihood that someone reads a book they're gifted? If it's a book that they've known about, that they've been eager to read, versus a book that I just pick out, is it just going to end up on the shelf? So if I do give a book for a gift, I need to sell it a bit to to get the person excited to read it.
Yeah. All right. Donald, uh, is pizza a big thing in Saskatoon?
Oh, pizza is a huge thing in Saskatoon, is especially if there's groups or organizations, like people eating together, because it's so easy just to place an order for a bunch of pizzas. I, uh, and something I have noticed is that online there's a lot of hate towards Hawaiian pizza. People don't like the idea of fruit on pizza. Pineapple, it just doesn't belong. But in Saskatoon, people love Hawaiian pizza. There's always Hawaiian pizza.
Yeah, because it's one of the best foods ever.
Oh, you're a fan of the pineapple on the pizza.
If it's fresh pineapple, not canned, count
Oh,
me in
yes.
all day, every day. In my opinion, it should be one of the five primary food groups. Yeah.
Mm.
Donald, when you and your friends, you and your family are headed out for holiday or weekends or an adventure, are you the kind of person who likes to have sort of the trip itinerary, hour by hour? We're going to go here, do this, go here, do this, look at this, take this picture. Or are you more of a let's wing it, we'll figure it out when we get there kind of a person?
I'm much more spontaneous. Yes, I like wandering. If I'm in a new country, I like to get set up in my hotel or hostel and just walk around the block a few times, start getting a mental map, and then yeah, take it easy and like I like to be interruptible. So if there's a shop we walk by that looks interesting, then I like to have 30 minutes, an hour free just to do whatever, go wherever the wind takes me, and yeah, be open to those uh, unique experiences. Though I do find having a loose itinerary very helpful, so long as someone else is doing the planning. I'll come along for the ride.
So they hit the big mile markers, and then you want to follow your nose in between. That works for me. I could go like that. Donald, if you let's imagine that we finish our idle chats, the phone
Yes.
rings, and it's the TED Talk people.
Oh.
Someone's canceled last minute, and you are the person that has to fill in for that TED Talk. You've got a few hours to prepare. That's it.
Mm.
So tomorrow morning, you got to show up and give a TED Talk. On what subject would
Ooh.
you be delivering a TED Talk?
That's an excellent question. And I think perhaps it would be on nonviolent communication, though that is my brother Dyson's forte. He's uh, he's the one who does the teaching on NVC at our office. But I've got a good enough understanding that I think I could throw together a TED Talk fairly quickly on that topic.
That's a good topic. That's a really good topic. I would listen to your TED Talk.
It's NVC Marshall Rosenberg, where it's the framework. I actually have a poster up of it in my office of the four key elements of observing objectively without judgment what happened, then speaking to what's going on internally for you, what your feelings are, and immediately tying those into your unmet need. And then from there, you can end off with a request. So it's a way to be communicating very openly in a way that allows someone to actually receive what it is you're saying and connect with you without it becoming escalated. Because when you observe with judgments, that can trigger some defensiveness. And then even if you're just saying how you feel, people can interpret that as a judgment on themselves. So it's important to tie that in to what it is that is missing, what need you have that isn't being met.
That is fascinating. Yeah, I would listen to your TED Talk. I would probably even replay it twice. Uh, Donald, because I already know the answer,
Oh, yes.
but the viewer might not. You are from a not small family.
No, no, not at all. In fact, I'm the fifth child in my family. So I've got four older siblings, three of whom I work with, and then my other older sister, she just signed the role. So she's now a lawyer. Last year, she graduated law school. So she's following in my mom's footsteps, who actually was accepted into law school at around the same time she found out she was pregnant with me. And I was number five. She went through law school. By the time she graduated, she had eight children. And then she started her career as a lawyer. And she recognized that there was this deep need for collaborative law and mediation, really that out of court settlement advocacy. So when people are going through separation and divorce, the status quo is to go to court and make it a big fight, and that's really unhealthy for the children especially. So she started her own firm in 2015, and at that point, she had 11 children. So I started off being the youngest of five, already fairly large family. But now I'm not even in the youngest half. I'm above the middle now. Number five of 11.
I love your mom's ambitious nature. So such a big family. I'm going to
Yes.
assume that there are lots of get-togethers, birthdays and anniversaries and
Oh, so many.
celebrations, and just sort of a nonstop parade of family joy. And when you go to these events, you don't have to name names, but as you're coming and going, you get to experience a lot of friends and family that host functions. What makes a really great host when you're out to somebody's place for a function, an event, a celebration? How is it that they really set themselves apart when they're hosting a big family event?
Uh, I'd say that the first thing is it's about creating the space. So, uh, with all of the little children around, that's if the adults can have fun no matter what the environment is, but the children can get angsty if they're not being entertained. And now with my siblings, they're pretty much all grown up. The youngest is 13 now, but with my nieces and nephews, they can entertain each other, but they do need that space, and it does need to um, uh, also create space for the adults to have their own conversations without too much distraction. So for a good host is keeping in mind what kind of activities are the children going to really engage well with. That and making sure there's enough snacks. Snacks and drinks. That's probably the key to it, to making the space welcoming, is to have snacks and drinks.
So a curated environment and a little bit of nosh, success.
Yes. And yeah, a curated environment, curated snacks and drinks, because the children and the adults, they want different drinks.
Yes, we do. Yes, 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 we do. Donal, is there in your opinion, a piece of life advice that if you weren't really paying attention to the value of it, the depth of it, the import of it, you would just say, oh, it's just an empty platitude. But actually, when you really look at the cliche, it's something
Hmm.
that's deeply true.
One from my grandpa, one from my mom, and one from my sister. And I don't know which ones would be cliche, but my grandpa, he always said, if you don't want trouble, don't go where trouble is. Very, very much common sense. And it it, it makes sense. My mom, her advice was it always works out, right? That's and just the advice to keep that in mind, where that's something that I often return to, where it's like, okay, if some if because sometimes things feel like the end of the world, especially in the moment. But when you're talking about that 100-year rule, it's very much that, okay, thinking about all of the times in the past where there's been something really difficult that felt all-encompassing in the moment, but then you can say, oh, made it through that. So whatever is coming up now, it's going to work out. It has to. That's just the way it goes. So, for an example, on Friday, I was launching the new website for our firm. And when I switched over the domain, it looked like 2.5 months of work vanished like that. So you can think about in the moment how heavy that felt. And I felt like I was gonna start having a panic attack, but I'm gonna try not to be stressed about this. Everything's gonna work out. Worst case scenario, I just go through my GitHub and put everything back together piece by piece. But everything worked out. And then the other piece of advice, the one from my sister, is, and I don't know if she got this from anywhere or if this was just from her own brain. So might not be cliche, but she says, procrastinate procrastination. And it's when you've got a task and you're gonna, and you can just, I've got ADHD, so I'm very prone to procrastination. So her advice to me is, you're going to procrastinate. Just do it later.
Oh, I'm going to apply that to my life. That's going to be one of my new favorites. Procrastinate, procrastination. That's a
Yes.
powerhouse. I like it. Oh, I like it. I'm going to send your sister a muffin basket. That's good.
Yes. So if the website is if it's all been deleted, I can worry about that, but I'll just worry about it after I've fixed everything. I'll stress out about losing 2.5 months of work after I put everything back together. But keep the main thing the main thing.
Oh, that's really good advice. All right, excellent. So, Donal, I know that you're in a family business. The family business
Yes.
is resolution, communication, um, helping people, and that you in particular do the thing that I love to do, which is the marketing and the business
Yes.
development and getting our industry and our processes and our skills out to people. I know what I
Mhm.
love about the work that we do. What do you love about the work that you do?
Oh, yeah. So I'd say it's definitely deepened over time because when I first started work here, it was only my mom and two of my siblings. So I was joining alongside them and I was the file clerk. So I just did whatever they told me, mostly scanning documents, reorganizing the bookshelf. But then I started answering the phones when we moved locations. We needed a receptionist. And I started hearing people's stories, and stories are really important to our humanity. And hearing people going through some of the most stressful times they've ever experienced in their life and being there for them, and also being able to point them in the right direction, whether that was working with one of our lawyers or if they needed to go to court, we would refer them elsewhere because we are primarily settlement advocacy, trying to resolve the matters outside of court as best as we can. So then, as I continued on, it was always the people element that was my favorite part. And then I was doing the real estate paralegal work, which was a lot more documents and processes, which didn't resonate quite so much. But then transitioning into the marketing role, it bridges some of that where we have a story to share. Every single one of us, along with like the company itself has a story, but providing an opportunity for people to be heard. And there's a quote I'm not going to be able to remember who it was from for attribution, uh, but I'm sure a Google search would say who it was. But the quote went, being heard is as close to being loved that most people can't tell the difference. So being able to hear people's stories, to create space for them to feel comfortable, because it's not easy to share stories, but it is a weight people are carrying. And that's the work that we do is helping lighting that load, help walk alongside people in this journey, being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and yeah, get a handle on uh, where they're at in their story and where they might want to go because we're everyone has a story and everyone's also the author of their own story. They just need to be empowered so that they know what's truly important to them and what's important to their family, then creating a plan for it. So that's my favorite part is seeing people's lives change, seeing the world change one family at a time.
That is absolutely one of the loveliest answers I've ever had to that question. Thank you, Donald. Very nice. Donald, if somebody wanted to reach out to you or the firm and learn more about what you do, how you do it, how you can help people, or maybe they just have a question and they need to use you as a resource, what's the best way for people to reach out and connect with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd say that would be our website, depending on what someone needs. If it is resources, we have a a guides page, which has a bunch of links to various resources, whether it's about separation or co-parenting or financial matters. It's all compiled on one page. And then there's a link to the calendar if someone needs to talk to a lawyer or talk to our intake team. And then yeah, I'm always open for just having coffees with people or having phone calls or video calls like this. So my email address would probably be the best place to reach me, and it's Donal, Donal at commonsenselawyer.com. And there's no D at the end of my name. It's just Donal, like Donald, but just a softer ending.
That's all right. The soft is a nice way to land. All right. Thank you so much, Donald. I really
Yes, and
appreciate the
thank
time you've
you.
spent. And I have just deeply enjoyed having an idle chat. Please pass my hello and best wishes to the
Oh,
rest of
of
your
course.
very, very lovely family.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, and thank you again, Natalie. It was a pleasure.